To keep it going, he's going to take something here.
And we are back with the first real tournament this season, the Shanghai Masters. It doesn't matter if you missed it or it was just on too early in the morning, I'll explain exactly what happened as we look for the best shot from the tournament. And as usual, we're going to be doing that by recreating all of the shots as accurately as possible before playing them in the fewest possible attempts. Let's begin with last year's champion Ronnie O'Sullivan, who once again, as you can see, appeared to be hitting really good form for this event, knocking in this long red against Ding and managing to swing the cue ball round the table enough to avoid the red that was close to the opposite corner pocket. This one's going to need a lot of backspin and right hand side, and it'll take some judgment. Really wasn't expecting that one to come off so quickly, not only potting the red but getting back down the table. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Well, that definitely went a lot better than expected. So let's move on to Judd Trump now, who looked virtually unbeatable in this tournament. He's already won his second round match against Mark Williams, but pots this yellow to cannon the last couple of reds away from the black and go on to make a century break, taking the match 6 frames to 2. Initially, I believed Judd had stunned the cue ball around the angles to get the cannon, but then I realised he'd used left-hand side on its own, so that's what I'm attempting here, and I was really close to getting that right on my second attempt, but I didn't quite get the cannon I needed to leave myself in a position I could pot a red. I keep getting incredibly close to this one, but I just can't seem to put this exact amount of left-hand side on the cue ball. I can easily overdo it and put too much side on, or too little. I just can't seem to get this right and get in the middle, what I need to hit the target. I was really lucky the first shot came off so quickly, and I think this is the opposite problem. It's taking a long time to get right. I've got a decent cannon here though, and I'm on a red. I finally got there. In the previous round, however, Mark Williams was looking pretty good, knocking in this really tough red down the cushion with enough speed to get the cue ball back down the table for a shot on the black. Mark did eventually go on to lose this frame, but took the match. Well, that shot is a little bit easier for me on my table, but still happy to get it right away, and the pace is pretty much spot on as well. How about this Jiahui shot from the quarter-final? Pots this long brown and brings the red off the cushion at the same time. Incredibly attacking. Yes, he was a little bit lucky with a second kiss to leave himself in really good position, but he'd go on to win the frame here, and that was difficult to do because he was playing Judd Trump, who was really in form as I've already explained. I just missed the brown on my first attempt, but I've got it on my second. Just how's the cannon? Will this red actually go? I've got to walk around the table, but I can see from here it definitely does. In the semi-final, Shaun Murphy came back from 6-2 behind against Mark Selby to take the match by 10 frames to 8 and played this weird-looking shot along the way. The frame was already over at this stage, but I just wanted to have a go to see how difficult it is. You got to play this one with right hand side so you can hit it at an angle but still make the red go straight. It didn't look like it was going to work there, but it seems to have gone in. On to the final now, and Judd Trump really wasn't holding back. Not only did he manage to get in position on the next red from this blue, something that was tough on its own, he also managed to split the reds and get the pink and black out at the same time. This requires a huge amount of cue power, and to get the perfect line, you've got to get very close to the brown here in order to make the cannon. And just a slight error with the way the cue ball top spins across the table can make a big difference to the line of the shot. And on these first few attempts, I haven't quite been able to get enough left-hand side on the cue ball, so I'm going to have to step it up a little bit, but avoid hitting the brown just like that. I'm also having a problem on a few of these that when I'm not quite putting enough topspin on the cue ball, I'm making the white bounce, and that's stopping it running through enough and means I'm not getting the angle anywhere near right and possibly causing the blue to jump out the pocket at the same time. I'm getting incredibly close now, but I didn't really realise how difficult this shot was going to be. I'm just glad I finally got it and the pot's on the next red. If that hadn't gone, I'd have to have tried it again. A big shot for Pang Junxu next, as cannoning this red into a good position to allow him to make the clearance and force a deciding frame would see him go on to win it. As would it see him go on to win in his next round match against Mark Allen, also taking that by 6 frames to 5. This shot made a big difference. I know in the past I've struggled with shots like this, where you've got to hit it with quite a bit of pace and it's between a stun shot and a screw shot, and I can't seem to get that in the middle bit. I finally got it after a fair few attempts, but I've gone in behind the yellow, meaning I have to try it again, and I still can't work out exactly where I need to strike the cue ball in order to make this angle. This looks a little bit better though. I haven't knocked it on into the right pocket, but it still goes easy enough. A recovery shot now for Ronnie O'Sullivan, as he's managed to open the reds up but failed to get nicely in position on a colour and has to take on this tough long blue. Not only does he get this, he makes a 70 break to win the frame against home favourite Junhui and then goes on to win the match in the next frame with a 62. I got close, but I genuinely thought I might get this one on my first attempt. My second attempt's good though, and the white's pretty much in the same place. Home favourite Jinhao is in a little bit of trouble with this one, where he's tight in behind the pink and needs to escape from this snooker around 2 cushions, which he manages with ease. He ends up losing this frame, however, although would go on to win the match by 6 frames to 5. My first attempt looks good here, but the side spin on the cue ball is probably just making it hit the wrong side of the red. That would have been safe, but that's not exactly the way I'm trying to hit it. And I've ended up going the wrong way trying to make the cue ball go to the left. I hit it closer to the pocket where I should have hit it further away. Either way, I've got it sorted out now, and this looks pretty good. The weight's more or less spot on as well. Judd Trump is using a trick shot to get himself a chance in his quarter-final match against Jiahui. The red's actually quite away from the pocket here, so you have to be really accurate on where you hit the bolt cushion to get the angle right to knock the red in. Remember, you don't just have to hit the red here, which isn't too difficult. You've got to get the angle right and make sure you pot it. Although annoyingly, my first attempt couldn't have got any closer, so let's see if I can make this small adjustment here to be able to knock the red in. And I've got it. For someone like Mark Selby, this next double is incredibly straightforward, but it was also very significant in the 5th frame of his semi-final against Shaun Murphy. He went on to win this frame and the following frames to take a 6-2 lead, so this one made a big difference. And with my first attempt, I couldn't have misjudged it anymore, but I've got it with my second. Against that, this Tom Ford shot was fascinating because the previous shot he tried to clip off the pink thin to leave it on the top cushion, but missed it altogether. He ended up down the table, Jiahui put him back in again, so he went for the double into the corner pocket. It doesn't really look on, but he still managed to get it, winning the frame. However, he ended up losing the match by 6 frames to 3. This needs a lot of backspin to avoid the double kiss, and that's why I miscued, but I've made a really good recovery and got it with the very next shot. So, cue the music, I guess. This week Mark Selby gets 3, but only because his shot was so significant. The clear winner is the Tom Ford shot, which gets 5, and could be a difficult one to beat this year. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got our first ever super chat to put on the map, which is Andrew from Bankstown, Sydney, which just about squeezes in there. There we go. The most significant fluke of the tournament went to Zhou Jinhao in the first round against Zhang Anda, where the black entering the pocket here meant he won the match and made it through to the second round against Ronnie O'Sullivan, who arguably had the most spectacular fluke of the tournament against him, as he escaped from the snooker here, double kisses the blue, and ends up podding the red down the cushion. The shot we're looking at, though, is from 16-year-old Zhou, who's lost position a little bit here, but doesn't think twice about attacking and playing the long blue. It's an accurate pot, and I'm happy to get it first time as well, especially having to screw back. Back to the second round with Ding Junhui, who's attempting a red that doesn't appear to go. But not only does Ding manage to pot this red through an incredibly tight gap, he also screws the cue ball all the way back to the bolt cushion, just in case. Of course, with these, I try as hard as I can to get everything lined up in exactly the right place, but I can never get it perfect. The gap is definitely there, but I've only got about half the pocket to go at, or just enough to squeeze the red in past the near jaw. And the way it was going, I wasn't expecting to get it so quickly, let alone get the white nearly back in the right place. This next shot from Judd shows how he was easily able to brush past Ronnie O'Sullivan in their semi-final match. He actually uses topspin here to avoid the pink and the red at the top of the pack, making the cue ball arc round onto the top cushion so he could get it back down the table. Ronnie was actually looking really good in this tournament until he came up against Judd, which just goes to show how well the ace in the pack was playing. On the other hand, I keep thinking there's a lot more angle on this shot than there actually is, and keep hitting it too thin. I've got it though, and I've got back down the table, although I've cannoned the yellow on the way back. Mark Selby appears to be in a little bit of trouble here, 30 points behind in the frame against Shaun Murphy and virtually snookered. Despite this, he manages to escape down the table and get the white back safe, and end up winning the frame. This is my second go at attempting this shot because on my first try I put the black in completely the wrong place, then got it after 3 attempts. Unfortunately, however, the black's kind of in the way and I wondered why the shot was so easy. Here I'm getting close to the red, I'm just not quite swerving around the black enough, and I've got a little bit too much red on that shot, but I think if I can just judge this a little bit better like that, that's actually pretty good, and I got it far better than I did on my first set of goes. You know how this works by now. Vote for the winning shot. The link's in the description and is completely free. It won't even sign you up to any crypto scams or sell your data to the North Korean government. At least as far as I'm aware. Either way, if you want to see the best shots from previous videos, including the Championship League, have a look at these 2 videos. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later!